Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius on Anucauskas. Today is the 22nd of November 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. I do apologize for the slight late start, experiencing a few technical issues here, but basically before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel. First, the disclaimer, guys. This is what happens when you start a little bit late. My head is not here. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so also just as I said before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our YouTube channel, which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page. So yep, check us out there. Now then, guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the Nasdaq100. Now, looking at this one, yesterday it kind of ended up mixed a little bit here, or should I say, basically nowhere. The most important thing is that the index remains above this barrier that I talked about previously, the 8,228 zone. We needed to see a nice good drop below this in order to consider further declines. Looking at the cash index right now, the index is currently balancing just slightly around the 8,300 level. So still that wouldn't be enough, because ideally for us to consider at least a possible move higher, we would need to see a push above the 8,310 zone, roughly around here, guys. But again, don't get me wrong, we are kind of not far from the all-time highs, which were around here near the 8,358 zone. In a way, even to get a little bit even more comfortable with higher levels, ideally a push above the 8,358 zone would be required. This way the index would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and yes, we could get comfortable with slightly higher levels, and of course we will be then aiming for a new all-time high. So yep, for now, guys, of course, from the very short-term perspective, keep your eyes on the 8,310 zone. A nice good push above that could in a way open the path towards slightly higher levels, and in a way, if this decides to drop lower and breaks below the 8,228 zone, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the sellers. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Again, if let's say, for example, it doesn't break out today, or let's say ends the day in this territory right here, then well, something probably more exciting for next week. So we'll keep an eye on this one next week as well. But again, today, keep your eyes on these levels as well, just in case we have a nice sharp move higher, either to the either lower. Bitcoin. So this is what I was talking about this morning. We managed to reach our target, the one that I've mentioned this morning, the 7,333, and of course it overshot it and continued to drift lower. And in a way the crypto found support near the 6,819 zone. So from which it kind of rebounded a little bit. You can see that the crypto is trying to push back, but it's still remains below the psychological 7,000 zone. So basically for now we're looking for that potential rebound place, and of course for now we are taking this one into account, the 6,819 zone. So given the fact that we managed to break this key area of support, now it will be quite interesting to see how far this could continue traveling lower, if indeed it wants to continue traveling lower. Because looking at the daily chart here, And let me just jump into this one. We are now at levels where you can see that we are actually, by the way, we are perfectly, almost sitting perfectly near this low right here. Then that's the low of May, 17th of May 2019. So this year, basically, this is where the crypto is right now. So it's back to towards its May levels. And the big question here is, can this continue moving further down? We do have some good areas of support here underneath, which previously acted as resistance. So one of the levels that we'll keep an eye on is going to be the 6,325 zone, or in a way, it could, if it wants to travel further down, another potential area of support could be seen near the 5,690 zone, which previously on the 24th of April acted as a fantastic area of resistance. So for now, guys, looking at this daily chart, you can see how overstretched we are to the downside. In a way, if this level right here, by the way, this is the one that I've just mentioned, the low of the 17th of May is going to hold, we could see a bit of correction here, maybe a push back to the upside. Could be quite healthy here for the crypto. And in a way, if it, let's say, struggles to move back above the 7,333 mark, then, well, we could see another round of selling. So for now, guys, of course, everything's kind of leaning more towards the downside. Let's see if it can retrace at least something here. If it struggles to overcome the 7,333, then we could see another round of selling here. So, but if it starts climbing back above the 7,333 level, then well, we'll consider some higher levels here. We'll consider the high of today near the 7,766 zone. But then, of course, above that, we do have this downside resistance line, which is running from the high of the 26th of October. So we'll keep an eye on that one, guys. But for now, everything's kind of leaning more towards the downside. Let's see if it can actually travel further down here. And one of our levels to watch here, if, let's say, this decides to continue dropping below the 6,819 zone, the next target for us is around the 6,325. So let's keep an eye on that one. USDJPY, very quickly on this one. Now, this one is stuck, basically, but on one hand, we could say that it's actually coiling up a little bit. So what I mean is that it's basically stuck now below this downside line and above this little short-term tentative upside line. So in a way, we're going to keep an eye on this one. We're going to keep an eye on these potential breakout levels. Now, for now, as long as it kind of remains in this territory, we're going to remain neutral and just going to continue observing the price action. If it starts pushing higher and starts breaking this downside line, then of course this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers. And of course, probably not this level that we're going to be looking at right now, unless this pair decides to drift a little bit lower. Then we'll start looking at this 108.70. But at this point in time, probably the level that could be more suitable would be this 108.84 marked by the high of the 19th of November. And after we get a break above this, then yes, we could get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels, and we could target the next potential area of resistance near the 109.07 level. So for now, guys, keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the downside, from the very short-term perspective, how you could play this one out is keep an eye on the low of today here near the 108.45. Another drop, but a drop below this level could send the pair towards this upside support line, slightly flattish upside support line, but nevertheless an upside line. So we could see a drift towards this area, a test of it. Maybe we could see a nice rebound here, but to get a little bit more comfortable with lower areas, ideally a drop below the 108.25 level would be needed. So for now, guys, if I draw a few arrows here, this is at this point in time at where the pair is trading right now. These are the two levels. These are the two potential breakout points that we need in order to kind of consider a further directional move, a further short-term directional move. I do understand it might not happen today. That's fine. Something to monitor next week as well, guys. So probably for this week, this pair is done. Maybe the big moves are going to come next week. So keep your eyes on those. Euro Aussie now, guys, very quickly on that. Now this is just a quick setup here, something to kind of monitor to prepare yourselves for, and in a way, as long as it kind of as long as it stays above this upside line and below this key barrier here near the 1.6324 zone, we will remain neutral. As long as it's going to stay in this little territory right here, we're going to remain neutral. We're just going to continue observing these levels here, these potential breakout points. So if we do get a break above the 1.6324, then this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers. And we could see more more bulls joining in here and potentially driving this one higher, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and the next targets to watch could be around the 1.6366 or even the 1.64 zone. So we'll keep an eye on this one. If this suddenly starts breaking this upside line and drops below the 1.6250 150 zone, now this is where we will consider possible move towards the 1.6193 level, which is marked by the low of the 15th of November. AUDUSD, this leads us to this one, and for now also we're waiting for a clear move out of this little pattern here. In a way, we could say that maybe this is a excuse me, guys, descending triangle here, but again, the descending triangle is currently from somewhere around here. Even if we see a drop through the lower side of this triangle here, and let me just probably quickly highlight this area right here just to kind of make it clear. So even if we see a drop below this lower lower side of the triangle, still there is quite a significant obstacle here underneath near the 0.6766 mark. Now, if we get a drop below this, then this could lead towards further declines. So, for now, we're keeping an eye on this downside line here, taken from the high of the 7th of November, and of course, we're keeping some of these support barriers. So, if we get a drop below the 0.6781 zone, yes, we could see a further move lower. The only thing is that there is this obstacle here near the 0.6766, but a break of this one, well, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could start targeting areas around here, around the 0.67, 19, 20 zones, something like that, roughly around there. As you can see, previously it acted as a fantastic area of resistance and support as well. So for now, basically, guys, the game plan for the downside, well, to get a little bit comfortable with the downside, this is the breakout that we need. Not this one right here, but a little bit lower. And with the upside, we need to see a push above the 0.6804, marked by today's high. And if we get a push above that, then yes, we will aim for slightly higher levels. And the first target for us is going to be around here, marked by the high of the 19th of November, and that's roughly around the 0.6835 mark. So let's keep an eye on this one. GBPUSD, very quick update on this. So this is what I talked about this morning. We needed to see a drop below the 1.2886 in order to consider further declines. For now, it's moving nicely to the downside. Our target is around the 1.2767 here, but which is marked by the low of the 8th of November. But keep an eye on some of these obstacles around here near the 1.2825 zone, roughly around here. If it gets cleared, that's wonderful. We're still targeting this downside, but in a way, the rate could stall a little bit around here. Maybe kind of think a little before for moving further down again, or even maybe could retrace a little bit back to the upside. So let's keep an eye on this level, just this little obstacle, I would even call it. So the 1.2825 zone. So if we get a break below this, then yes, further declines are possible as well. And of course, for now, we are still aiming to the downside, but we'll be very careful around here near the 1.2825. But again, as if it wants to travel further down, that's wonderful for the bears. For the upside, well, it's tricky to talk about the upside for now unless it starts climbing back above this upside line. But even then, we'll be very careful here because we need to see a push above the 1.3013 level before examining higher levels. And the last pair for this session is the euro dollar. still remains in this territory, which we kind of call a neutral one. For now, we're just continuing to observe these potential breakout points, the 1.1043 on the downside and the 1.1093 on the upside. We need to see a clear move out of this little kind of it's not a very clear range. It's just these are very important, or should I say significant support and resistance levels. So we need to see a drop below the 1.1043 before kind of getting comfortable with lower areas, because you can see that this level, even here, the 1.1051 zone, we did have a drop lower today, but it quickly got back above it, and now the pair is kind of trading above it again. So basically, for now, we're just going to continue observing these two levels. We're going to remain neutral, but if we do get a drop below this, and ideally if we get at least a close maybe of a daily candle, that would be even better. For now, we're just going to, like I said, we're not going to do anything, just continue observing the price action. In a way, of course, we do have the full US session to go through today, but in a way, if it doesn't do anything, then yes, of course, keep your eyes on this one next week. Maybe it'll make a better move here, maybe a much clearer move, which we can all try to take advantage of. Let's put it that way. Okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful. Once again, sorry for the late start a little bit. If you want to join me on Monday, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, guys, if you're still trading, be very careful. Have your stop losses in place. But if you're finished, I mean, have a wonderful evening. For those who are still trading, also have a wonderful evening. And in general, guys, everyone have a wonderful weekend. Try to relax. Try to clear your mind, and then we'll have a fresh start next week on Monday at my Traders Espresso, 7 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.